All right, I'm excited. I'm excited about today's show. We're going to talk about 3 ways to heal from the front line. So, I've got a great person on today with me talking about from a nurse perspective. But she's going to actually, I think, a lot of you, whether you're teachers or MAs or anything on the front line over the past year or so, where you're having to still be an essential worker, I think a lot of this will still affect you as well. So if you want to learn ways to kind of heal from that process, ways to kind of tap back into you and what you're trying to accomplish, I think you're in the right place. I'm very excited about my guest today. I have Miss Kym Ali. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Rollis. It's a pleasure to be on your show.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you. And so glad you're able to talk about this important topic. And it's something it's on the minds of many right now. And as things are starting to slow down, we're starting to look towards the healing process. And as we look towards the healing process, there's a lot of decisions that are going to be made, and hopefully, us as individuals as well as organizations can make the right types of decisions in preparation of that. Uh, however things shake out the way they are, because I read some articles recently how we're in front of something that's going to be the most massive amount of movement that we've ever seen in a long time. So, thank you for coming on, Kym. I'd love to hear your top tips. Get us started. What are your first? You know what? Before top tips, give me your background, please. I know your background, but I want to make sure my audience knows your background.
Sure, absolutely. Well, I am a registered nurse. I've been a registered nurse for 16 years. I can't believe I'm that old. But I've had the opportunity to work in various capacities as a nurse, from an educator, a leader, informatics, and even had the opportunity to go overseas and open up a women and children's hospital. And so that was a very rewarding experience. And now I'm an entrepreneur and I help nurse leaders retain nurses.
I love it, and we need that. We need that because the nurses have been leaving in droves in certain areas throughout the past year or so. Some of them just needing a break. They just need to change a break, and then others have decided to go into other careers. But we got to figure out a way to keep the ones we have, and then of course keep adding to that. So I love to talk to this whole subject. And those of you who are in the comments, let us know what you're seeing from your end, or whether you're in healthcare or not. Are you seeing that sort of movement about to happen as well? Do you see that there's a healing that's going on, and perhaps falling healing could be the movement? We've got Rob Berry is in. He says, "Hey guys," and Stacy Ford. I just got through talking with Stacy. Kym, I was just telling you about that. So good to see you, Stacy. And then, of course, Joanne, she's helping us in the comments. So Joanne's going to be here to help us throughout our discussion. So let us know what's top of mind for you, and if you have any questions in the comments today. So thank you for joining us, Rob and Stacy, and the rest of you who've already checked in with us. Let us know where you're signing in, what city, and state, and country. So going back to this subject, I would love to kind of hear what led you on this journey, because I know you're helping organizations to address some of these issues when it comes to retention and all that. But what led you here? I understand you've been in nursing for 16 years, but what got you to the point where you are now?
Mm. My own personal experience with burnout. It got to the point where it was affecting me mentally, emotionally, and physically, to the point where I was lying in bed one day, and in my 30s, I felt like I was having a heart attack. I had this excruciating chest pain and it was terrifying. And at that point, I knew that I was not okay. And if I didn't do something soon, that I would be on the verge of a nervous breakdown. And so I started researching resilience. I've always been physically active, always went to the gym, but at that stage in my life, I needed to work on my mindset. And so I was able to heal myself. I'm a certified behavior change specialist as well. And I'm also a mental health first aid responder. And so just incorporating those skills and techniques into my life, I started to see results within a matter of weeks. And then I started helping other friends who were nurses in similar situations who were burned out as well. And they started to get results right away. And so I started doing one to one coaching, but I'm like, you know what? I want to make a greater impact. And so I started getting requests to come to healthcare facilities. And so that's how I got into this. So I always tell people that entrepreneurship found me. I wasn't looking for it.
Love it. Oh, that's a great story. And one of the things that I remember you mentioned, you talked about trauma.
Mhm.
So different people experience trauma in different ways. And so tell me about your experience with that.
Well, what led to my burnout is that I was living overseas, and unfortunately, I was fired from my job. I lost my job. But the events that led up to me losing my job was very traumatic. But I didn't tell anyone, I didn't talk about it. And so, 2 weeks after me relocating back to the States, my niece passed away. So you have multiple traumatic events, losing your job, financial trouble, because when you live overseas, you have to pay off all of your debt before you can leave the country. So I had a travel ban placed on me. I couldn't leave the country. The life that I knew for 5 years was uprooted from me. I had to leave my friends. And then 2 weeks later, to come home to a death in the family. And so those are multiple traumatic events that happen relatively, I would say, within 4 to 5 weeks of each other. And then 2 days after my niece passed away is when I started having, which at the time felt like a heart attack. And so that just goes to show that when the body and when your mind and body are under intense stress, that it can have possibly deadly consequences.
Absolutely. And Stacy chimed in and says, this is relatable for so many nurses. The silent elephant.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Oh, and Beth Cole's here too. Good to have you, Beth. Rob says, in hindsight, what were the signs that you missed? So, what were the signs before you had that, more of a where your body just said, "Look, we're shutting this thing down here." Before that, what were some signs that you perhaps missed? That's a great question from Rob.
Yeah. The signs are there, I believe, for all of us. We just choose to ignore them. So, for example, my blood pressure increased while I was going through the events at my job. I'm an emotional eater, so when I'm stressed, I start consuming more or binge eating. Withdrawn, activities that I used to find pleasure in were no longer enjoyable to me. So those are some of the signs that something is not right. But like most of us, we fear that asking for help is a sign of weakness, but in actuality, it's a sign of strength.
That's a great point.
Mhm.
And you made me think of something. There was a time in my own business I was stressed a few years ago, several years ago, and I went to the urgent care, and they were treating me for, I think I had a sort of cold or sinus infection or something. But you know how they always check your blood pressure in there. And I was 159 over like 105 or 110 or something like that. And they're like, look, you're either going to have to fix this pretty soon or you're going to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
And it scared me because I never really had high blood pressure. But I knew instantly it was the pressure that I was feeling from my business, that I
Hmm.
was internalizing too many things and I was ignoring it. So I was like, you know what? This business is not worth my life. So I'm going to prioritize me over the business. And fortunately, the business stayed. We still did pretty well, and it's been several years later. But my perspective changed,
Yeah.
and therefore my blood pressure went down. Of course, I took some medicine, ate better, and did those other things too. But it definitely came down. So thank you for mentioning that. So those who are watching this, maybe you haven't had as traumatic of an event as what Kym just expressed to us, but you have had the higher blood pressure. You have had the unhealthy eating habits that changed. Perhaps you've withdrawn. And these are signs that we should not ignore. Is that right?
That is correct. That is correct. The long term effect that stress has on your body can lead to physiological consequences, like with you, high blood pressure, stroke, heart attack. I've actually worked with nurses and physicians that had a stroke just from the immense amount of stress that they were receiving from work. And not only physiological effects, but the emotional trauma. So, perfect example, when I was terminated from my job, I found a new job. But I brought the trauma from my previous job. And when I say that, I mean that if I saw people talking in a corner, I would become paranoid and I would think, oh my gosh, are they talking about me? Or if I received an
Yes.
email from my manager, I would think, oh my gosh, am I getting fired? And that's trauma. And it's not healthy, it's not normal, but that's what happens. We develop negative thoughts and behaviors, which at the time appear to be coping mechanisms, but in the interim, they really hinder us from healing in the future.
Oh, that's a great point. Wow, that's a, yeah, that's no, that's profound. That definitely hits me. Um, yeah. So let's go into the three tips. You mentioned there's three ways we can start to begin to heal, and let's go. Let's take. I don't know if you want to name the three or if you want to just go with the first one. Let's go with that.
Well, no, I'll start with the first one because my story is a perfect segue into it. And so let's go ahead and talk about the state of nursing first. We all know nursing is at a crisis, right? This has been the worst pandemic we've experienced within a century. So we are past burnout. We were burned out pre-pandemic, but nursing has transitioned into PTSD. So right now, bubble baths, meditation, massages are not going to help. So just to indicate or just to show where we are, because I love data. So
Yes.
these
Yes.
are just a couple of stats. And I got this I'm referencing my sheet because I want to get the numbers correct here.
Okay.
But this is from the Journal of American Medical Association. So as of right now, 60% of nurses have reported that they have suffered some form of mental, physical, or both exhaustion from the pandemic. Female nurses are twice as likely to commit suicide.
Oh no.
Yeah. 55% of nurses are burned out, and 30% are on the verge of leaving the workforce. But no one has ever stopped to think, well, what about the other 45% that are not burned out? Why have they been able to go through the pandemic and seem to be fine? Well, that's because they have developed the resilience and coping skills to deal with trauma. And so that is the foundation of my program is reflecting what traumatic events have happened to you in your life and what negative behaviors or thoughts have you developed as coping mechanisms. So as we said before, trauma it is subjective. What may be traumatic to me may be a piece of cake to you. You can
Right.
bounce back right away. But if you are not in a safe environment where you have the support, the resources, and the tools to, talk about your experience, what's going on, then you just suppress those feelings and develop those negative behaviors. So, perfect example, and this is evidence based. You can look it up. This is a study that was done in collaboration with the CDC and Kaiser Permanente. So, I'm not sure if the audience has heard of ACE, but this is adverse childhood experiences. So these are traumatic events that have happened from birth to the age of 18. And this study was able to do a correlation between the stress from trauma and linking it to physiological conditions in your adulthood, mental and emotional issues as we are when we are adults. So again, let me go over some stats with you from this study. So when they conducted the study, 61% of adults reported at least one traumatic experience
Hmm.
in their lifetime. Yeah. So remember, this is only up to the age of 18. The study is not taking in consideration any events that have happened after the age of 18,
Oh
right?
wow.
I know another stat that is shocking. One out of six adults have reported at least four or more traumatic events in their lifetime, which is huge because when we
Yeah.
start to get around multiple traumatic events, it has a huge impact. So, and again, another example within the study, out of all the participants that had multiple traumatic events, 65% of the women reported that they had chronic depression.
Hmm.
Yeah,
65%.
65%. So, if you remember in the beginning where I told you that female nurses are twice as likely to commit suicide, and what is nursing? Nursing is female dominated. So that goes to show that women, we are more susceptible to stress and trauma than men. So that's why we really need to help nurses now. Another shocking fact, and this one really blew my mind. People who experience at least five or more traumatic events, 50 years later, 100%, every single person was on antidepressant medication.
Oh,
Every single person. I mean, there's even studies linking how people who have multiple traumatic events have increased absenteeism, decreased job performance. Even, again, like we talked about stress, heart attack, stroke, diabetes, obesity. It's all, or there's a strong correlation between stress and trauma. I'm not sure. Do you like Oprah? Are you familiar with
yes,
Oprah?
yes.
Yes,
Oprah,
yeah.
yeah, she's like my favorite interviewer ever. I've
Mhm.
definitely learned a lot from her.
Love Oprah. So she's starting to open up now about her childhood experiences and trauma. And I think even in her late 30s, she had a revelation. She said that her grandmother used to put a chair against the door so that way they could feel secure and protected. And even up until her late 30s, with all the money and security guards that Oprah had, she still had this negative behavior. And when she realized what she was doing and that she didn't need to do it anymore and that it was actually hindering her growth, she stopped it right away. So identifying what is blocking you from healing is the first step. Before we get to all of the self-care, trust me, I love self-care, but we need to do that deep internal work first before we begin the healing journey. So that's the first tip is just do some reflection, dig deep. What is your experience with traumatic events and how do you handle them?
Yes. Okay. Now, so that was awesome. So I feel like we need some of this because we went through some. You brought us through some stuff just now, Kim. I mean, that was serious what you just brought us to. So let me see if I can get us. Why is my thing not working here? There we go. Yeah. So I want to give yourself, myself. Let's give ourselves a little grace and a little bit of fun here because we went through quite a bit just now, and I gotta get it back. It's like yeah, it's like a delayed thinger. So I have a question for you before we get into number two. You ready for my question?
Yes.
Okay. So my question is, what or who is your favorite children's movie character of all time?
That's, I would have to say Jim Carrey because he did all of the comedy movies
Oh
stuff.
yes, yes, yes. I love Jim Carrey. By the way, in the comments, you guys let us know what's your favorite childhood character, either who or what. So if it's a cartoon character, that's fine. From your yeah, who was your favorite one growing up? I gotta go with you on that one. But for me, I'm a little bit older than you, so it wasn't my childhood. I was kind of like more like young adult, if you will. But yeah, I definitely love Jim Carrey stuff. Anything in particular you can think of by Jim Carrey that you really liked?
Ace Ventura.
Oh, Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. Yes, that was hilarious. But by the way, Rob says, "Yikes, 100%." He was definitely shaken by what you mentioned. 100% of those folks who had multiple traumas. Right. By the
Mhm.
time 50 years later, they were all on antidepressants, which is yeah, it's incredible. Okay, so let's go into number two. So we had a nice little break. There's a little bit of fun break there. Let's get
Mhm.
back in. Then what's number two? The second way we can heal by identifying trauma was the first. Identifying what was kind of holding us back with the trauma. That's the first one,
Mhm.
right?
Yes, that's the
Okay,
first.
let's go over number two.
All right. So number two is your energy. Check your energy, and that's basically it can equate to what is your emotional intelligence. So, for example, a lot of nurses are considering starting a business. You know,
Mm-hmm.
people are quitting to start a business, or maybe they may leave their current employer to go to the next employer. But you have to remember, again, when talking about a traumatic event, the pandemic was trauma. So, until you address what happened, you're just bringing that negative energy with you to the next phase.
That's
You
real
know,
talk
if
right
you're an
there.
entrepreneur, it will affect how you show up and engage with your clients. If you start at a new hospital, it will affect how you engage with your supervisor, your coworkers, and the patients. So check your energy. And so what I like to teach my clients is just how you would do a patient assessment. Start doing daily self-assessment. So when you wake up, what is your energy? What is your mood? Right? How are you feeling? Are you in a good mood today? What are your thoughts? You know, and if you're thinking negative thoughts, try to challenge them. So, what evidence do you have to support those negative thoughts, right? And if you believe you do have evidence, then is there something that you can do to correct the problem? So, our energy, you remember, energy is contagious. You can't destroy it, it can only be transferred back and forth. So, if you're omitting negative energy, that's what you're going to get back.
Mm,
All right.
I
So,
like
that's the
that.
first one. And then situational awareness. Just like we have to be in tune with ourselves, we have to try to be in tune with other people. So be in tune with your surroundings. How are your colleagues doing? You know, if you come to work one day and a coworker looks off, say something. Say something to them. You know, we need to support each other right now. This isn't about me or you,
Hmm.
it's about us in order for us to prevail and move forward.
See something,
And
say something, right?
yes, yeah, be a listening ear. You never know what people are going through because life didn't stop because of the pandemic. People still had to do homeschooling, people still lost loved ones, people still lost their jobs. So you never know how you can support someone and just be there for them.
You know what? You just made me think of something, Kim. There was a situation recently. It was a guest that was supposed to be on one of our shows. We were communicating with each other. It was about four or five of us in the conversation, and one of them just wasn't responding. I mean, I was like, "Wow, what's going on? This person really wanted to be on the show. They're not responding. What's going on?" I'm not thinking anything like what you're talking about, but I just said, why is this person not responding? It didn't seem like it should be happening, and I even emailed the person. They still didn't respond. Well, lo and behold, I found out that she lost her mother in death. And I was like, you know what? This is another example of we just have no idea what someone else is going through. I mean, she lost her mother, the closest person to her. She lost she lost her in death. And here I am wondering why she's not responding to my chat on LinkedIn. You know,
Yeah.
and sometimes we just don't think about those things. We could be communicating with someone right now and wondering, well, why this person's not responding to me? What's going on? This is supposed to be their job. Whatever the case is, we get to thinking all this negative stuff, but they could be going through some serious stuff in their lives. So I thank you for
Exactly.
mentioning that. I want to show appreciation for you saying that.
You're welcome. And again, like I said, you know, someone could be going through the worst period in their life, but because they're afraid or embarrassed or ashamed to talk about it, they will never reach out. So it's important for us to extend a hand first, because you never know, you might even be saving someone's life.
Absolutely. And you know what else you just mentioned that I'm also going to remember is that what if she didn't tell me? There's a certain amount of people who will never tell you what it was. And so
Yeah,
we're thinking these other scenarios, but it may have been a real scenario that they don't have it in them to tell us
they're
what
not
that
ready
was.
to
They're
talk
not
about
ready.
it.
They're
Yeah,
not ready.
yeah,
Man, that's a good point.
yeah.
Okay, so did we hit the 3 points? We got identify the trauma, we got the energy, and then
Yep.
situational awareness. Is that right?
Yeah, so that's part of, energy, emotional intelligence.
Okay, so that's
Yeah,
still part. We're still part of the second one.
yes.
Okay, I got it. I got it. Okay. I like the point you said about you can't destroy the energy; it only gets transferred somewhere else. So if you don't get rid of that negative energy from that traumatic effect just by starting a new business or moving to a different job, you take that bad energy with you if you don't address it. Is that right?
You do. You
Man,
do.
that's good stuff. You're
You
dropping it on us today, Kim. Go ahead. Keep going.
Okay. So the last one, is grace. Just give yourself grace. Once you've identified what's blocking you, once you start being more in tune with yourself and other people, don't be so hard on yourself. No one knew what to do during the pandemic. The CDC, the WHO, the president, even though that might be a bad example. But Anthony Fauci was just on CNN last week, and he even said, "You don't know what you don't know." Even he admitted that if he had known that mask reduces the transmission of COVID, he would have recommended it in the beginning. But unfortunately, when something like this happens, as you collect more data, then you can start making more or modifying your current recommendations. So give yourself grace, you know, and think about your intention. A lot of nurses were put in positions that were morally compromising, right? But at the time, you felt like you were doing the best that you could do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, nurses, we were just pawns in the war against COVID. All right. But now that all of that is over, sit back and reflect. What were things that happened that you did not like? And then in adversity, take that opportunity to make a change. And so I'll give you a couple examples. It could be a change within your unit. If there's something that happens on your unit, you can advocate to your manager to maybe modify a policy or create a new policy. If there's an organizational policy that you would like to change, start joining committees, start reaching out to leadership and share your ideas with them. I'm pretty sure they would be open now to ideas from nursing staff.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you know, get involved with your community. Now is the perfect time to, you know, educate people on vaccine hesitancy. Volunteer to administer vaccines. And if you want to take it a step further, you could even join the AMA. They're really big on legislation and policy advocacy. So take the negative experience and use it. You know, don't let COVID make you the victim, become the victor.
Ooh, I like that. And we both have a good friend in with the ANA too. That's Katie Boston Leary, right?
Yeah, yeah, she's very active. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that's awesome. I love all these great this great feedback. Okay, now I have a fun question for you, guys. In the comments, give me any follow up questions that you have to what Kym said. It was great stuff. Give us maybe your experiences too. Give us your feedback. We love to hear back from you, even if you're watching the replay, because we're still going to be looking at these later. Okay, so I'm going to give you a would you rather question. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's see which one I'm going to pick for you. All right. Would you rather ride in a tight crate? Imagine a tight crate for a 13-hour plane flight, or with cows in the back of a truck for a 2-day road trek. Which one would you take?
I'll take the crate.
So you're gonna take the crate for the 13-hour plane flight. Why is that? And guys in the comments, I want to hear your answers as well.
I can't do manure. I get very nauseous very easily. So yeah, I will take the crate.
I didn't even think about that, but that's so true. Oh man, that's that. You're right. That is rough, man. I remember when I was a little kid, we would drive all the way to California. My dad would want to drive, right? Because he got two boys and a wife. He's like, I'm gonna drive. I'm not gonna fly. So we're all in the car, and then once you get around Fort Stockton, going on I-10, uh, heading towards California, which is just like in a nowhere part of Texas, out of the West Texas, and you can smell the cow manure from the interstate. I mean, it is distinctive. And I'm in a car. We're in an air conditioned car, right? We're not
Car,
even,
windows rolled
yeah,
up.
windows rolled up. We're nowhere close to the cows, right? And it's just
Right,
like excruciatingly bad. So
right.
yeah, I'm with you on that. Rob says no cow patties. And Tim Brown, hey, Dr. Timothy Brown, he's here. He's here from Atrium. Awesome to have you, Timothy. He says one plane ticket, please. And Robert says he's going to take the plane ticket as well. So I think it's pretty much unanimous. We're all going to go with the airplane. Okay, I think I'm with you. You got me sold on that one. You got me with the manure. I mean, as soon as you said that, I was like, you know what?
Yeah,
She's got me on
forget
that
it.
one. Okay. All right, I want to do a never have I ever with you really quick. And then guys in the comments, I want you to tell me the same with you. If you have or you've never, so we can get to know our audience as well. Never have I ever made a video of myself singing or dancing. Okay, I'm gonna try and guess. Guys in the comments, let's try and guess on Kym. Has she ever made a video of herself singing or dancing? And then also, I want you to tell me about yourself if you have, or if you've never made a video of yourself singing or dancing. Okay, I personally am going to guess that you have not made a video of yourself singing or dancing. Don't answer yet. Let me just see if anybody else wants to guess here. Now, Dr. Timothy Brown, he says he's guilty, so he's done it. I actually did it once. I actually did a video of myself singing because I wanted to play it back and hear how my voice was. Because we all think we sound a certain way, but it's not until you record it and hear it back can you really hear how you really sound.
Like, oh, I harmony sound.
Exactly. So Rob says she has not. So he doesn't think you have. So he's with me. He doesn't think you've done it before. And Joanne says singing yes, dancing no. Now Joanne, is that for Kym or is that for you? Let us know. Okay, so we're all in suspense, Kym. Have you or have you never made a video of yourself singing or dancing?
Rollis, you are correct. I have not.
Okay. All right. I guess that. I'm just I got a chance to know a little bit about your personality, but I'm gonna express to you. I'm gonna suggest to you to go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do a video of yourself singing or dance. You don't have to show it to us. I think it's gonna be fun. I think you're gonna like it. Go for it. Joanne says yes for Kym, so she thought you did.
Sorry, Joanne.
Do you have a good singing voice, Kym? You probably do.
I was actually in choir.
And you haven't done a video of yourself? What? You were in choir and you haven't done a video of yourself singing?
No, those days are long gone.
Okay, what's your favorite thing to sing then?
Something by Whitney Houston, but she has a powerful voice.
Ooh, you must have a really good voice. You talking about Whitney Houston? What?
Well, no, trust me, I sound nothing like Whitney Houston. I just tried to imitate her.
Because I could bring up my music program real quick. Get some karaoke going. Because Rob says we want to see it. He says we want to see it. He's smiling. Joanne says yes, please. See, we got to have some laughter. We're trying to heal from the front lines, right? So laughter is going to get us there, right?
Right.
We got to bring some laughter in this thing. In fact, I was communicating with Stephanie Saunders here on the platform. She had somebody on who talked about humor and how important humor is in his profession of I think he's like a real estate guy or something like that. But anyway, he uses humor. I haven't watched any of his stuff yet, but he uses humor a lot. And that's what they were talking about. And I was like, you know what? That's right. I'm going to use more humor even in my show because it really helps us. I think it helps to heal. It helps us to also talk about very tough subjects. Obviously, we want to be laughy the whole time because we were serious a little while ago. I mean, you gotta.
Sorry, I hope was I depressing?
No. We need to talk about these subjects because here's the thing I appreciate about what you did, Kym, is you brought the problems that are there, but you brought the solutions with it though. I just don't want to leave people hanging. I don't want to have a complaint session and then all of a sudden they're just depressed by the end of the show. You know what I mean? But you brought it. You brought the solution. So I appreciate what you did. And any other tips you want to leave us with that we should be thinking about, whether in any profession, whether we're in nursing or I know Beth Cole was watching. She's a teacher. I know Rob. He's a specialist with the fraud. He knows how to detect fraud. You know, he's a what's your official title, Rob? He's like a chief fraud guy, where he can check and make sure that there's no fraud going on. I know I'm not saying that right, Rob. Maybe you can help me out. But it's interesting about Rob too. He's a fun-loving guy. But when I think about fraud, folks, I think about people who are like super, super serious, and that may not be fair. It may not be true. That's just what I was thinking. And he says a lot of people are like him. They like to have fun. He says, Rob says it was pretty heavy, but necessary. And I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I like the fact that you brought problem, but you brought solution.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a real honest conversation that will help the healing process.
Yeah. Okay, so as you think back, I know that your body ended up telling you, look, you got to do something different here. But was there a moment right before that when that happened? They're like, ooh, yeah, this is not working for me. And if so, what held you back to the point where literally your body stopped you?
Mm, denial, denial, shame, embarrassment. Because who really wants to talk about getting fired from their job, right? It's embarrassing, and then people want to talk about it when you're not ready to discuss it, and so you just suppress
Mm,
it. And a lot of us have stories. We all have a story in life, right? And a lot of us don't share that story because we are afraid or embarrassed of what people will think. But sharing your story is powerful because one, it helps you heal, and two, you never know who you are helping in the process of sharing your story. And so once I was able to get out of my own head and get out of my way and just, think about how many other people I could be helping by, just being honest and sharing my experience, and that's when my healing journey began.
I love that.
But yeah, until, like you said, until you get rid of negative thoughts, until you get rid of fear, shame, and embarrassment, those are huge hindrance
Yeah,
to moving
absolutely.
to the next level. Yeah.
Now there are a few medical professionals you're already affecting. I can tell because I'm looking out in the audience and I'm seeing it actually right now. See, so you're already having a positive effect on several within the healthcare industry. We just don't know it. See, sometimes we just don't know how we're affecting people. Um,
Right.
I do that jokingly, but it always feels. We get a nice little laugh out of it. We feel good. Oh, Rob says I'm super serious. He's not. He's not super serious. He's not super serious. He can be serious. He can be serious when he wants to, but he can also be very fun. Okay, I got
Oh,
another
I was
question for you.
gonna say, real quick, when you mentioned about humor, it really does help break the ice and take the edge off of things
Mm-hmm.
because when I started doing this, showing up and doing podcasts and shows, I was super nervous, super nervous. And so I like to crack jokes because it has a way of, easing the fear and anxiety. And who doesn't love to laugh and who doesn't love to smile? So,
Right, right. Okay, so
mhm.
you just brought back a memory for me. So the first time that I interviewed you, it was last year, and that was your first one, right? Was it your first one?
Yeah.
And I remember it was right here. It was the same view where you are right now. And when we first got on, you had kind of a. It was like a fearful look at first.
I was terrified.
Yeah. I could tell, and I tried to calm, help you feel more comfortable, and you began to feel more comfortable as the interview went along. But when I compare that to today, I
Mhm.
mean, you just get on like, "Ooh, this is nothing."
But yeah, I mean, it was practice and just, letting go of those fears. I'm like, what's the worst that can happen? I stumble, I stutter, I make a mistake. So what? I have the courage to do what most people don't have the courage to do, which is come on
Ooh,
alive and, share something that's personal. So,
I know that's right. Okay, I gotta give you something for that one. I like that one because that's a great point. And a lot of times we'll hold back because of that, but you didn't let that stop you. So see the crowd, they're appreciating what you're saying as well. That was great. That was gold right there. Okay, I got one more would you rather question for you. You ready?
yeah.
Guys in the comments, I want you guys to be ready for this. Would you rather have to swim a mile to save your life with a 20-pound weight tied to your waist, or with 5-pound weights tied to your wrists and ankles?
Isn't
It's,
that still 20
it's still
pounds?
20 pounds, but one set is around your waist and the other set is around your wrists and ankles.
So it's evenly distributed. Okay. I'm going to have to go with my waist. 20 pounds around my waist.
Okay, why is that?
Um, well, because I need my arms and legs to move in the water, and I feel like that will slow me down, and I'll get more fatigued with heavy weight attached to my arms, yeah, and legs.
Once again, you have convinced me, and resoundingly so. I there's just no way I can fight against that logic. Anybody in the comments, what do you guys think? Would you go with the swimming to save your life with a 20-pound weight around your waist, or with 5-pound weights tied to each of your wrists and ankles? Let me know in the comments. I'm with you on that one
Mhm.
because now I have free movement. I can get used to that around my waist. But man, that would be tiring to do that on the.
Yeah.
Ooh. But yeah, that would be too tiring. Mm-mm. I couldn't do that. Okay, so so Dr. Timothy Brown, he says 20 pounds around the waist, and I just float to safety. Yeah, yeah. So I think we're all going to be with you on that one, Kim. Do you find that you're really good at convincing people and persuading folks? Is that one of your skill sets? Because you've done that twice to me already.
Getting better.
How important do you think that is in the healing process? Does it have any importance level whatsoever? Being persuasive. I don't know. I'm asking. I have no idea.
For healing, I would say no, because you have to be at a point where you're willing to admit that there's a problem and you want to work on it. I can't convince you of that. You have to find that within yourself.
Ooh, that is so true, guys. What do you think in the comments? You guys agree with Kim? We got some smart folks in the comments here. I'm telling you, these guys are way smarter than I am. I'm so glad they're here today, and so glad you're here today too, Kim.
Thank you.
Yeah, and also, what was your specialty whenever you were? I know what it is, but I want to make sure the audience knows. What was your specialty?
Maternity, mother, baby.
Yeah. Well, the reason why I mentioned that and asked that is because being a nurse in general, you are caring for others. It's a caregiver position, but then on top of that, you're caring for the mother, who's also a caregiver. I don't know. Is there anything to that? I mean, is it different than other specialties in that way? I don't know. Help me out with that.
Yeah, so I would say women's health, you don't have one patient, you have two patients. You have the mother and the baby. And so when you're dealing a lot of times with first time moms, this is new to them. So it's a lot of support, a lot of education and patience.
Yeah. And does that make the pressure more when things are not working out, or is it about the same?
Yeah, it can make the pressure more because now there's two people that you have to make sure, are stable and, following the clinical pathway. So
Yeah,
a little bit
absolutely.
more pressure.
Well, I'll tell you, you've dropped a lot of knowledge on us. I really appreciate today's session. You give us a lot to think about, and you gave us lots of clips today. We're going to use lots of these clips because the stuff you're dropping, and sometimes we don't want to deal with issues, and just
Mhm.
not dealing with the issues and moving is not going to fix it. It's like the energy thing. I love that part about the energy. It's going to stick with me. You can't
Mhm.
destroy it. You can only move it around.
Yeah.
No, Joanne says around my waist. LinkedIn user. I wonder if that LinkedIn user is Daya. Is that Daya, Joanne? And if it is, welcome back to the show. She says her waist as well. Everybody's unanimous. You've convinced everyone, Kim. It's the waist. That's the winner. Okay, do you want one more to close us out?
Sure.
Okay, I'm going to do one more Would You Rather. This is for you and the folks in our audience before we close out today. All right, would you rather Um, hmm, interesting here. I'm having a trouble. Which one should I pick? Okay, would you rather navigate through life with 3D glasses always on? You have to keep the glasses on all the time, or wear a milk mustache at all times.
3D glasses.
Oh, hello, Veronica Williams. Veronica Williams is the one who. Good to see you, Veronica. She was the one who answered that she would go with the waist. Okay, which one did you say? I'm sorry, I missed that, Kim.
No, sure. 3D glasses.
3D. Why did you pick 3D glasses?
'Cause it could be a fashion statement. I can make it look cool, whereas a milk mustache is not cool.
That is so Kim. Oh my gosh. Kim always dressed to the nines. She always has everything, just so. And so now that makes sense. You're gonna turn those glasses into a fashion statement. Okay. I think you pretty much have me there. I mean, I think you're right. You could be starting something. 3D glasses, guys. In the comments, what do you guys think? So we've done our therapy work already. So this is our last fun question for the day. What would you rather go with? Would you navigate through life with 3D glasses always on, or wearing a milk mustache at all times? I need to know. This is very important, guys. This is very important.
This is critical.
I think the milk mustache would be interesting, though. It would be kind of interesting.
Hmm.
Um, it wouldn't impair my vision like the milk, because 3D glasses do kind of impair your vision. I mean, only if you're watching a 3D movie
That's true.
is it okay. In other situations, it kind of throws it off.
That's true.
I think I'm kind of I'm leaning towards the milk mustache.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm you almost had me. Timothy Brown, he says 3D glasses as long as the frames are nice. Hey, he's a sharp dresser too. Kim, do you know Timothy?
I don't think so.
Yeah, he's always a sharp dresser. So that definitely it makes sense. See, that's what I love about these questions. It helps to reveal different things about my guests that I would not have learned otherwise. So
Mhm.
that's why these questions are so fun. And I learned things about the audience as well. And sometimes I may learn something that's in line with what I already know about their personality, or it becomes something that's totally new I never thought about. Joanne says she'd rather wear a milk mustache. So we're part of the milk mustache crew today, and Timothy and Kim are part of the 3D glasses crew today.
It's okay, Timothy. We'll look cool.
Well, guys, thanks for watching today. You were amazing. Oh, Ahmed, he says, amazing host with a great guest. Ahmed, thank you very much. Kif halak. Actually,
That's Ron.
yeah, he speaks Arabic, Kim. So if you want to
Ah,
tell him something in Arabic, I know you know Arabic, don't you?
Assalamu alaikum.
There you go. See, Ahmed. Awesome. Well, listen, thanks everybody for watching today. We appreciate you. We're going to be back online tomorrow. I actually have a two-parter tomorrow. It's a 1 p.m. Central and a 2 p.m. Central. I have two physicians on the first hour. The second hour, I've got one therapist, and is it one or two therapists? And also Kym Ali, who's also big into corporate mental health tomorrow. So please join us tomorrow afternoon. Ahmed says, Kolo Tamam. I don't know, what does that mean? Kolo Tamam. Tamam. KOLOTAMAM. He says, ha ha. Well, guys, thank you for joining us. We'll see you soon. Bye,
Bye,
everyone.
guys. Thank you.
Let us know what resonated with you. Okay, Jonathan, let me know when it's going to turn it off. Yeah, as I'm waiting, let us know what resonated with you today and put it in the comments, please. Thank you for watching. Oh, good. Thanks, Dran. She put the link in for tomorrow. Ah, he says it means perfect. It means perfect, Kim. That's what Ahmed said. Awesome.
Shukran.
All right, you're good, Rollis.
Oh, Shukran. All right, awesome. Okay.